I'm your host, and remember, this show is all about you. Post symbol that you would like information on in the comment section, and we will go over it live here on the show today. If you are catching the show after it has gone live, you can still leave a ticker symbol in the comments. We will go over it in our next show on tomorrow. Okay, so to start today's show off, we are going to go over the boating industry. We're going to cover manufacturers, we're going to cover dealerships, and different other recreational um, companies that are in that space so you can get a feeling for how the boating industry is doing and whether you would like to invest in the boating industry. Right now, the boating industry is on fire. It is very hot right now. Earnings reports have come out for several of the companies already. There are some that are coming out in just a few days, and they're doing very well. So, again, just a reminder, welcome to the show. Leave your ticker symbol or the company name if you don't know the ticker symbol in the comments and we'll go over it. Such as price action for the day, support and resistance lines on the chart, uh, chart patterns, if any are forming on the chart, quarterly financials, if they are recently or coming up, and also top news for that ticker symbol. So, this is episode number 4, and let's dive into it. First off, we're going to go through a market recap today. The Dow and the S&P 500 both closed up and broke records today with the surge in the tech industry. The Dow Jones closed up 0.53% to 32,953. The S&P 500 closed up 0.65% to 3,968. And the Nasdaq actually closed up 1.05% to 13,459. Now, I'm going to share my screen here with you real quick. There's just a little technical issue with doing this. So hold on one quick second and we should fix this in 3, 2, 1. Should be coming up. Here we go. All right. Almost there. Okay. All right, so now you can see what the closings were for the indices. We've got the Dow, S&P 500, Nasdaq. Gold was up 0.63%. That was pretty cool. Oil was down 0.49% on the day. So we also have a comment from Janet Yelling saying that unemployment, or should I say full employment, is not expected to be reached until the year 2022. That is next year. So we have a ways to go with unemployment, according to Janet Yellen. Now, on the Bitcoin side, the cryptocurrency, we had some news come out that maybe some a country or two may ban cryptocurrencies. That had Bitcoin drop from their all-time high over the weekend, breaking $60,000 for the first time down to 56,476 per Bitcoin today, which has stabilized from the fall. Now, Ethereum has also fallen quite a bit. It was almost at 1900 at one point over the weekend. It is now sitting at $1,505 per coin. We also have XRP up there on the list. We have Litecoin. Scroll down a little bit here, and we've got Bitcoin to the US dollar there. Okay, so Bitcoin has stabilized after reaching its all-time high, breaking 60,000 over the weekend because some countries said, well, maybe we don't want Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies um, happening in our country. All right, let's hop over to the heat map here for the market today. You can see there was a lot of green in the technology sector, which is over here on this side of your panel. Apple was up 2.45%. Nvidia was up another 2.6%. Qualcomm was up 1.2%. AMD was up 1.7%. So we have a lot of companies that were in the green today on technology. We also see healthcare, which is in the middle of your screen. They did pretty well today as well, with several companies up quite a bit. Let's hear. We can look at Merck and Company was up 2.1%. Johnson and Johnson was up a half a percent. We have Pfizer. They were up 1.3%. So healthcare did good today. Communication sector did pretty well also. Facebook was up 1.99%. Google was up just a quarter percent. We have Airbnb up 1.5%. Twitter was a big mover, up 3.2% today. One of the big losses that we have here is hold on. Okay, here we go. All right, where was that loss at? I just saw it and I lost it. Okay. Ticker symbol IQ, they were down 4.9% in the communication services. The consumer cyclicals, they did pretty well today, minus two of the biggest, Amazon and Alibaba. But you can see here, Home Depot was up 1.99%, and we have McDonald's was up 3.8%. Nike, which have earnings coming up, they were up 3.2%. Burger King, 1.9%. So we have a lot of good movement here in the cyclicals there. Let's see what other segments did well. We've got real estate doing pretty well today. Let's see, American Tower up 1.5. A lot of good movement there. And real estate utilities were also up, and industrials were up quite a ways today. So that's the overall sector update for today, which is the 15th, Monday, the 15th of March. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the boating industry. Remember, leave the ticker symbol of the company you would like to go over in the comments, and we will go over that. Until then, we're going to start with Brunswick Corporation, ticker symbol BC. Brunswick is a manufacturer of different boat companies. And I should have done this earlier, but let's do this. Let's see. Uh, Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Our brands. Let's go over the brands that Brunswick manufactures and sells to dealerships. All right. So here we go. In the marine engine business, they've got Mercury. In the boating business, they've got Boston Whaler, Sea Ray, Lund, Harris, Bayliner, Crestliner, Cypress K. They also have Heyday, Lowboats, Proctor, Quicksilver, Thunderjets. So a lot of different boating companies under their belt here. One of the biggest ones they have, Sea Ray, is a big deal for Brunswick. And you can see those beautiful boats right there. Isn't that a beautiful shot? That is pretty. Okay, so if we hop over to the chart here for Brunswick, let's just start here. So today, Brunswick was up 3.4% during regular session hours, but Google has them down here, Google Finance at 2%. But when we hop over here to TradingView, which I believe is more accurate, they have Brunswick only down 0.05% in after hours trading. So I'm not sure what that discrepancy is on Brunswick between the two there. But Brunswick has been shooting up almost in a straight rocket ship to the moon type of move over the last the last month. Here we go. This is the year, last 60, um, let me get it zoomed in here. Hold on one quick second. All right. All right. Okay. So this is a overview. This is the daily chart for Brunswick Corporation, ticker symbol BC. They're a manufacturer of different boat brands, and they sell those boats to dealerships, not consumers, but straight to dealerships, and then the dealerships sell them to the consumer. So you can see on the yearly chart here, they have moved a lot since the March lows of last year. And if we mark that move out right here from last March to this March, we have ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, a gigantic move. Oh, hold on. Let me do that one more time. Okay, gigantic move. Oh my goodness, 350%. Can you believe that? Brunswick is up 350% over the last 12 months. And you can see that big acceleration from its March lows of last year, big acceleration up until August. And then we had that sell off in September for most of the market. And then we had a consolidation period until we reached December. And then December steady right up until we got to March. And let's go to the hourly chart so we can get a better look at what is happening right now today. And I also have some price points marked out here on the chart. All right, so here we have what Brunswick has been doing for the year so far. This is year to date. To the left of your screen, this is the beginning of January. And then all the way to the right of your screen, all the way at the top where the rocket ship is heading, that is where Brunswick is currently sitting at $107.19 per share. So you can see here on the chart, on its way up, there was this consolidation period at the beginning of the year. And this started right here, the 11th of January, and it ran through until the 5th of March. And it was in this consolidation pattern where it had support right at $84 and it had resistance at $92. It just bounced around in there really nice and pretty. You could have swing traded this stock with all these perfect ups and downs on this stock chart right here you can see. But starting on March the 5th, it broke out of that $92 resistance level, and it has been going almost straight up ever since. It will shoot up. I mean, look at these gap ups right here. Let's go in closer here, and you can see here these gap ups. Let me do this real quick so we can see this together. All right, look right here, we have a gap up. See that one? And then we also have one right here. We've got a gap up again. Now, this happens every time there's been this gap up in the stock price. It's happened in the after hour session. So when you're looking at this stock chart, and again, this is the 1 hour chart, the brown line that you see going vertically here on your screen, going up and down. Each one of those brown lines represents the end of one day and then the start of a new day. So on the hour chart here, it starts right here at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then it ends at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So those brown lines, that's after hours. So every time this stock has gapped up, it has occurred in the after hours, which I find fascinating. So if you're Swing trading the stock, just keep that in mind that a lot of action happens in the after hours on Brunswick as a company here. All right, so after they broke through the $92 level, and there's one more thing for me to point out. Every time you see a marker on support or resistance for a price point, the marker is 25 cents wide. So, for example, if a marker starts at, say, $98 even, then the top of that marker will be $99. I'm sorry, $98.25. So each one represents a 25-cent move in there. So the next point we got to, once we broke out on March the 5th, once we broke out of this $92 resistance level here and gapped up, we got to a new resistance, $98. So once it got there, you can see now that it started to consolidate right through this area right here. Let's see, this area right here. This is where it consolidated, and this was March the 8th through March the 10th. Okay. All right. Let me get these lines out of here real quick. Okay. All right. We'll save these gapped up. All right. So then on March the 10th, it broke through this resistance of $98, but not for long, just for a moment. And then it sold back off and it ended up landing right inside this box here, right here. But then guess what? After the market closed in the after hours session or the pre market session, it gapped up above the $98 price point, and then it was on a rocket ship all the way up to $103, which is our next line here. And this brings us current to where we are today on the stock. Now, the stock, once it broke through $103, it consolidated right along that line of $103 until today. Now, today's price action, you can see there are mainly green candles. All the candles are green except for one that was late morning. That was the 11 o'clock hour, and every other candle is green. So with this company so far, we can kind of start to see a pattern. The company consolidates, right? Well, let's back up a little bit more than that. All right. The company has resistance, okay? It consolidates, right? And then once it breaks through the resistance, and look at this. This is also very interesting. Let's do this. Look right here. Look right here. This is just like all the other ones. Let's go in here. Look at this. So the stock reaches a resistance point, okay? It consolidates in a box. It has this resistance it can't break through. In this case, the resistance was $84. But then overnight, after we're done with regular session trading in the after hours, the stock gaps up above that resistance line. That is very interesting. So gaps up above resistance, and then when we go back over here, gaps up overnight, breaking the resistance. So there is a pattern definitely occurring here with this stock. Now, once it does break above that resistance level, then it goes and it finds a new resistance and then it consolidates, okay? Now, the consolidation has gotten shorter, that's for sure. This last big consolidation was a couple months. Now we're talking about a few days, maybe a week of consolidation before it breaks through the next resistance line. So right now, you can see it breaks above the resistance, finds new resistance, consolidates, breaks through, finds new resistance, consolidates, and it has just broken through. So, where is this going to consolidate? Because that looks like the next move for Brunswick. It looks like it is going to consolidate somewhere at some price. We're not sure if we've reached it yet. So, this is one we'll have to keep an eye on as the week moves forward to see if it does find a resistance level. Now, if we measure these lifts right here, from support to resistance was 6.3%, okay? Let's measure the next one. Here to here, and this one was 4.9, all right? So if we'd say 6%, 4%, let's take 5%, and let's add 5% to where we just broke through. Okay, we gotta do it so we can see here. So if we add 5%, then we're gonna go to about $109, and we're at 107. So if this pattern continues to hold, then we'll probably shoot up to $109 to $110 and maybe find resistance there and then consolidate for a few days, um, or who knows, maybe longer. But this is Brunswick. This is what it looks like for a manufacturer right now. So with the manufacturing of boats, boats aren't something that you need necessarily. Boats are something that you want. It's not a necessity. It's something that you enjoy, something you can have fun with, take your family with. And with the quarantine that has been in place for over a year now, the boating industry, what's better than going out on a boat if you can do so. And with the restrictions starting to lessen and, maybe people aren't ready to get on airplanes and travel long distances. Maybe they just want to take a short little trip. What's better than, getting in an RV and going, a couple hours down the road or getting on a boat and spending the day out on the water? Those seem like excellent little mini vacation getaways that you could take with, our current situation with the pandemic. So this is what it looks like from the manufacturer side, okay? Next, we're going to go and look at what it's like for a boat dealer, okay? So we're going to look at the largest boat dealer in the United States, and that is MarineMax. And they sell many different brands of boats, many different manufacturers. All right, so this is what it looks like for the past year for MarineMax. And let's just go see if we can. Their ticker symbol is HZO on a play on H2O for water. All right, so you can see today, and the past year, MarineMax is up 503%. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So when you're searching for investments, and right now, one of the biggest uh, ways to invest is thematic investing, where basically you're picking a theme of different stocks and you're putting them together to build your portfolio. Ark Invest, that's exactly what they do, thematic investing. So they pick themes, from technology, autonomy, even in the healthcare, the genomics. sector of healthcare, they pick different themes of stocks that kind of rhyme and go together, and that's what they invest in. The boating industry is a theme, a thematic investing strategy. You can pick from manufacturers to dealerships to service centers, and you can pick a variety of different manufacturers and boat dealers, from ones that are selling, big massive yachts, to ones who are selling more, retail style boats, somewhere in the 20-foot, up to maybe a 50-foot type of boat. You've got different styles, from sailboats to engines to different little watercraft, ski boat type things. Um, and then you've got fishing boats, and you've got all kinds of different styles of boats that you can choose from. Some do a little bit better than others, but right now, the boating industry as a whole is doing very well, and they've been doing very well through the pandemic, because in the states that allow it, people have been going out on boats because they can't go out and take vacations. So it's something to keep in mind, and that's why we're going through the boating industry today. Okay, so with MarineMax up 503% over the last 12 months. We go look at the chart to see a deeper dive on what that looks like. You can see from there, gotta go back a little further. From their March lows right here, they kind of consolidated. They had a little fake out of a jump right here, but then they sunk back down and hit another low at the beginning of April last year. But from that April low all the way up to where they are now, and you can look at this chart, there's a nice line right here for support, and then it kind of broke away from that trend line, and then it sold off, and then it used the trend line again, but resistance this time all the way up until you got to 2021. And then things have been just breaking free in 2021, shooting up. I mean, look at this last line. It is almost straight up. And if we measure this last move starts right here on March the 10th. Last week. Last week to today, the stock has jumped 47% in 1 week. 47%. That's incredible. So you can see how this is moving right now, and the stock chart is very similar to how Brunswick was, and Brunswick is a manufacturer. MarineMax, which is what we're looking at now, ticker symbol HZO, is a dealership. They sell the boats that Brunswick company makes, and they also sell other manufacturers as well. But they are doing excellent, and this is a big national, biggest retail boat dealership in the United States. So they are huge and they are everywhere. Okay, so let's go and look at the 1 hour chart for them so we can see what's happening up a little closer. And I'll take our timeline in for year to date. So this is year to date, what it looks like. So for MarineMax, the beginning of January, this is midway January. The 11th of January is when it started climbing to a resistance level of $40, broke through that, and it gapped up. Now, let's see where these gaps occur, because they will be interesting to see if they're happening in the after hours like they were for the manufacturer. So, we have a gap up right here, and that occurred in the after hours, okay? And then we have consolidation at $43. and then we break through for just a little bit for 1 day, and then we come back down, and then we have a gap down right here, which occurred after hours, and then we have consolidation, breakthrough just a little bit early in the morning on 1 day, sunk below it early in the morning on 1 day, but we're consolidating right along the $43 line, and then here we gap up. And again, this gap up occurs after hours. All right. Okay. And then we move along. So we just broke through the $45 mark. And then we get to earnings. Okay. We get up all the way to $48 right before earnings. Earnings come out and the stock sold off. So did they have bad earnings? Well, they came in at $1.04 per share. $1.04 per share is what their earnings were. The street estimated that they would have 61 cents for their EPS, earnings per share. So they beat the street's estimates by 70%, but the stock sold off. That's interesting. Why would the stock sell off when it beat estimates? That's interesting for sure. Okay, so then we have this gap down right after earnings, and this happened after hours. We have a few days of selling off until we reach our low point on February the 1st. Okay, and then we're breaking through, we're consolidating up to the $43 mark. We break through, but this time we break through during regular session hours. And then we're going up, we're consolidating again. Now we're consolidating between $43 and $45. All right. And then, oh, we have a day where we break above it, we come back down below it because we are testing this resistance of $45, and then we break through. All right. Now, $45, we're on our way up. We're marching up. We hit resistance at $48. All right. This is February 22nd. We have this sell off right here, and this occurs after hours again. So a lot of action after hours. Okay. Now we keep moving along. We're getting closer to where we are for this blast off rocket ship move. We break above our $48 of resistance. We come all the way up to $51, and then we fall. And we fall all the way to the end of February. Now we're consolidating again somewhere between $43 and support and resistance of $48. Okay. Now we get to the rocket ship starting on March the 5th at 11 a.m. in the 11 o'clock hour. And it seems like almost every stock on March the 5th that had been selling off for the past week or two took off from that day, all right around, 10:30, 11:30 time frame. They all took off. And now MarineMax dealership, from there to where we are now, is 45%. So from March the 5th up to now, 45%. So we broke through this resistance of $48. Now we're going almost straight up. We get to the the $57 price point, and we're finding a little bit of resistance here at $58. So we consolidate along $57. Okay. That's where we are today. Now we're up here. We were up another 5.7% today to $61.35. After hours, up another 0.06% to a average price of $61.39. So this is MarineMax as a boat dealership. Okay. Let's go look at another dealership, but this is a smaller dealership, a smaller group of dealerships, okay? And this one, the ticker symbol is ONEW, okay? One Water Marine. All right, let's bring this back out to the daily chart so we can see what it's been doing over the past year. Stop right there, hop over here. And again, the ticker symbol ONEW, and this is OneWater Marine. All right, so over the past year, they are up 579%. MarineMax was up over 500% too, but that's a larger dealership where they have dealerships all across the United States. OneWater Marine has a handful of dealerships in one region of the United States. So it's interesting to see this correlation in price movement and how the stocks are behaving, and also the correlation between dealership and manufacturer in the boating industry. All right, so let's look at this chart here. So from their March lows, right here on the left side of your chart, you can see that they followed this nice trend line, using it as starting out as support and then using it as resistance, then support, and then resistance until August, the middle to end of August, and then it sold off through September. And then we consolidated during October, and then November we started on the rise again, using this nice trend line as support all the way up. So what are the price points to look at here? Well, let's go to the hourly chart so we can get a better look at what's happening. And you're going to see that something looks kind of odd here. These candles are all over the place. There's gap ups, gap downs. It seems like there's gaps everywhere. It looks like there's more gaps than there are candles. What that is showing you is that this is a slow moving stock, okay? Let's just go and look at the 5-day on the trend on the chart here on Google Finance. So if you look at this, we're up, we're down, up and down, okay? It's not moving a whole lot when it moves. That's why you see all of these gap ups and gap downs, and it just looks spotty instead of looking tight and clean with, candlesticks that you can firmly see and make out. Okay, so what are the price points for OneWater Marine? Again, this is a smaller boat dealership. They're selling boats to consumers. So we have support down here at $31. Now, just real quick, today, this stock was up 5.48% to close at $44.10. Remember, it's up over 500% in the past year. It still has room to run. So we've got support down here at the lowest point at $31, $32, okay? And then we've got this midline support right here that was acting as resistance. And let me do it for you. It was acting as resistance right here. And then it started acting as support right here, okay? Now, this is at $35. And then we ran into some resistance at the 47 to $48 price point until March the 8th, where it's been on a straight up run. Let's put a trend line on that to better see what it looks like. So you can see here, this trend line. That's what the stock has been doing since March the 8th. Okay, so that's Brunswick. manufacturer of boats, ticker symbol BC. That's MarineMax, a boat dealership, um, the largest in the United States, where it has boat dealerships all across the United States. That ticker symbol is HZO. And then we have here a smaller boat dealership, more regional, ticker symbol ONEW. All of them up hundreds of percent over the past year during the pandemic. They have lots of room to go. All right, let's look at another one. This is a boat manufacturer we're going to, but it's a specialty, okay? This is going to be Mastercraft, ticker symbol MCFT, Mastercraft Boats. Let's bring this chart back up to the 1 day. Let's go over here and type it in. Ticker symbol MCFT, Mastercraft Boats. Now, this is a boat dealer, excuse me, a boat manufacturer, but very specialized in the boats they make. They're making um, ski boats, wake boats. Let's go to the 1 year chart. They're up 338% over the past 12 months. And you can see it's kind of a choppy ride, which is interesting since they make wake boats for, um, skiing behind and wakeboarding behind. And then when we go look at the chart here, when we put a trend line on that choppiness, you can see that if we to go back a little bit further. Okay. Right here on February the 18th of 2020, that's when they started to sink, and they sunk all the way down through the month of March, and they hit their bottom on April the 6th of last year. And then we have this nice trend line using it as support all the way up to the middle of August, consolidation, and then a big sell off on earnings, which is interesting. Okay. The street said that Mastercraft Boats would come in at a loss of 26 cents per share. Well, they came in at a loss of only 15 cents per share. So they did better than the street thought by 42%. And yet, there was a big sell off. September was a down month in general for a lot of stocks, but specifically here for Mastercraft Boats, they had this big sell off right here. Look at that. And all right here on earnings. Look at that volume. That big candlestick right there for volume. Okay, so from that bottom right here at the end of September, then we have this nice trend line where it's using it as support all the way up. Okay, now let's go into the hourly chart and look at our price points. All right, much like the uh, dealership that we just looked at before Mastercraft. Mastercraft is also a little choppy with these gaps. Look at this. You have gap up right here. You have these gaps going up. You have more gaps going up right here. So there's gap ups and gap downs all over the map for this one. Okay. All right. So we've got a bottom in support at $26. We have mid-level support of $27, and then we have the upper end of support at $28, okay? The stock was up 0.12% today to $31.60. It currently has what looks like this could be a fallback support level right at $30, or it could be forming another support up here at $31, right here where it's been at for the last few days. We don't have enough data to determine whether this is going to hold up as support or not, or if it's going to fall back down a little bit because this stock likes to go up and down and consolidate and then break through. You can see that that's happened several times since September of last year. It'll have this breakout and then consolidate, breakout, consolidate, breakout, and then consolidate. So we're in a breakout period right now. So we may be looking for consolidation, possibly right here. Okay. So that's Brunswick, a manufacturer who builds several different types of boats, and their ticker symbol is BC. Let's just go over here real quick. All right. All right. So we've got manufacturer of many different styles of boats, up 225% over the last 12 months. Okay. And then we have a boat dealership nationwide over the entire United States, MarineMax, ticker symbol HZO on a play of H2O for water. And year, last 12 months, they are up 503%. Now we go look at a smaller regional dealership, ticker symbol ONEW, OneWater Marine. And over the past year, they are up 579%. All right. Now we go and look at the last one that we looked at, which is a specialized uh, boat manufacturer for wake boats, and that's Mastercraft, ticker symbol MCFT. And over the past 12 months, they are up 338%. The boating industry is on fire right now. The boating industry is almost a perfect fit for the type of conditions we are living in right now, where we can't go on these big vacations. We can't really even afford to go on these big vacations, to be frank with you. So, what can you do? Well, you can buy an RV and go a couple hours down the road. You can buy a boat, spend the day out on the water, and when you're doing these types of things, you're with your immediate family, you're with your friends. You're not in a large group of people or even around other large groups of people. So it's very it fits really nice with where we are at right now as a society with the pandemic. Okay, so that's a look at a few options for you in the boating sector. I have just one more to look at, and this is a specialized one. Ticker symbol DOOO. This is BRP. Now, let's go. Let me go show you what they make. Uh, Here we go. Okay, BRP. Alright, so they make a couple of different things, some not related to the boating industry. So, you got your snowmobiles that they make. They've got the Can-Am Off-Road, the Sea-Doo watercraft, which that's what we're gonna look at. They've got the Can-Am on-road vehicles and little race car, things there. They also make a pontoon boat, so a very specialized boat. Pontoon boats are perfect for lake conditions, and they also build boat engines as well. They also have fishing boats, which is again specialized. So this is a specialized manufacturer. They have boats, they have engines, but what I want to look at is the smaller watercraft, their Sea-Doo watercraft, and that's where they get their ticker symbol from. Okay, so this is something small that one person, 2 people, even up to 3 people can ride on, a smaller watercraft, um, type of company. So you can see here these different types of pictures for it. This is something that, customers can buy. You know, if they don't wanna buy a big boat, they can go with something like this instead, and they can trailer it even behind a car. It works out okay even behind a car. So, if you don't wanna go the boating route, but you still wanna get on the water, you can go buy yourself a Sea-Doo. You can buy a couple of Sea-Doos. You can put them on a trailer, you can tow it behind your car, you can go to lakes, rivers, ponds, just about anywhere you can take these out on, and it's fun for the day, it's something that you can do by yourself, it's something you can do with a group of people, with a few of these. You know, maybe your friends want to, get in together and, get a Sea-Doo. That's something that's, an option. So, I just wanna point this one out as well. So when we go look at the chart for this company, and the company's BRP Inc. The ticker symbol is D and then 3 O's, OOO. On the 1-year chart, they are up 217%. And then we go and in here, D and then 3 O's, company BRP, okay? All right. So for them, and let's get to the daily chart. All right. So we go here, and this is the big drop off from February of 2020. Big drop all the way down, and they hit their bottom in March. They had a fake breakout at the end of March and then sold off in April. So they hit their low in April. So from April, they've been on a nice steady ride up, peaks and valleys with any stock, of course. So let's now go into the hourly chart and look at where we're at today. And you can see that since the 1st of February of this year, they have been in a consolidation phase. And again, just like the Mastercraft boats, when we looked at that manufacturer, there were a lot of holes in the charts from gap ups and gap downs. Just like the small regional dealership, where there was also gap up and gap downs, a lot of holes in the chart. So you can see here, we have a gap up right here after hours. We have right here, excuse me, a gap up right here in the after hours. That's something I find very fascinating. Every last one of these, either whether it's a manufacturer of boats, whether it's a dealership, specialty manufacturer of boats, they all have a lot of action in the after hours. That's just fascinating to me. Um, So you see all the different gaps up and gap downs. So this consolidation period, February 1st, and then they finally broke out on March the 11th of this consolidation pattern. Now, this is between $69 as support and $76 as resistance. Now, since they've just recently broken out of this resistance level, if we go back here and look, let me put a circle around this. Uh, okay, hold on. All right, we go and put a circle around this right here. Okay, you can see that on February the 10th to February 11th, they broke out of this resistance and they went up and then they came back down and then they couldn't break back through, so they consolidated. So let's go look at today. So today, March the 11th, March the 12th, and then today, March the 15th, they've broken above this resistance right here. So now is the same thing going to happen that occurred back on the 11th of February? Are they going to fall back down and then consolidate more? Or have they finally broken above this resistance of $76? And are they going to now use this as support? If you look here, the stock, when it broke through, unlike this time, the first time it broke through, it went up, and then it came back down, right? Now it broke out, right? But then it came back down and back tested, and then it bounced off that line and went straight through. So, could it now be going even further? It's very possible. It could. It could also go and find resistance at some place. So it did find resistance right here at $80 today in the 11 o'clock hour. It did try to run up. It got to $80 and it fell back down today. And then it just kind of sat there for the rest of the day. It was almost a flat day for it. So is this the sign of consolidation? Is it free of this resistance? And now this resistance is a support level? It is possible. Excuse me for one quick second. All right. So that's the boating industry and what it's looking like right now. And if I haven't dove into this very closely. Oh, get out of here. I haven't dove into this real closely to see if we could find how the boating sector is doing. But overall, the boating sector is doing great. 217% growth over the past 12 months. Brunswick. Brunswick over the past 12 months is up 225%. And then we have MarineMax, HZO, and over the past 12 months, they are up 503%. Smaller boat dealership, ticker symbol ONEW. Oops, ONEW. One Marine over the past year, they are up 579%. And then the last one, Mastercraft, ticker symbol MCFT. Mastercraft Boats, and over the past year, they're up 338%. So the marine industry is growing. It is on fire right now. So if you're looking for a thematic investing portfolio to build out, as we have just gone through Brunswick, manufacturer of many different styles of boats. We have Mastercraft, a boat manufacturer of a specialty type of wake boat. We have the Sea-Doo, which is a single, double, triple occupant type of water ski type of boat. Again, all of these are up over 100% over the past year, 300, 500% in the case of MarineMax. We have a regional dealership, ticker symbol ONEW, doing excellent, up hundreds of percent. Um, the boating industry has a lot of room to grow. And as I said earlier, the boating industry is almost perfect for the current conditions we have now. People can't travel very far, whether they aren't allowed to or they don't want to. Boating allows people to go out in small groups, either, with your immediate family or your immediate, circle of friends. You can go out, enjoy a day on the water, and not be around a crowd of people. That's why the boating industry is on fire, because it's nearly perfect for our current situation in our society right now. As things start to open back up, yes, that could be one of the risk factors to the boating industry. Maybe people will want to start traveling far again. It could produce a surge in used boats or brokerage boats, people trying to sell their boats to get out of them. But I don't see that as a risk in the next 12 months. Um, I see that once people get out on the water and experience the boating lifestyle, they typically hang with it and enjoy it. Very few people, once they experience that, don't want to go back to it. Okay, so that's the boating industry. If you have any questions about any ticker symbol, make sure to leave that in the comments, and we will go over that live and or in the next episode. Okay, so we've got a ticker symbol here. SFT shift. Shift is doing great. So let me do this again. I'm gonna share this with you. Give me one quick second. All right, let's go pull that ticker symbol up. Shift Technologies is doing incredible, okay? They do have very defined support and resistance levels, okay? Shift Technologies is a uh, car type dealership. They sell used cars. It's an online experience. They are doing a wonderful job as a company. So they recently became a public company. You can see here on the chart, it only goes back to uh, June of 2019. And from there, let me draw this line here so you can see. So from there, all the way until June of 2020, they were flat. They weren't going very far as a company. But then what happened June 2020? Things really took a turn, and people and companies were almost forced to take a 5-year position to switch people to being going digital, and also take a company with a 5-year plan of going digital. Everything was squished down to 1 year last year. So Shift then saw this giant spike right here, this big spike up right here. It's like it was going to the moon. And this was uh, June 24th through June 29th, I mean, it just shot up. Shift became um, a company that everybody was eyeing, similar to Carvana or uh, Vroom, companies that are trying to sell online. And then it had as quick as it went up, it fell and sold off. And then it was in this very defined trading channel coming down, a descending trading channel. And then we get to November of last year, and it found its bottom, and its bottom was right around $8. And then from there, it consolidated, and you can see from this blue line of $8 support up to a resistance line of, say, $9.50, where it just couldn't break through until it got to February of this year. February 8th, it finally did break through and then consolidated because it couldn't break through the $10.50 mark. And then it sold off again. Let's go to the hourly chart from the daily chart so we can get a better view of what it looks like right now. Okay. So this is shift right now. This top red line, we'll call this one the $10.50 line. It's resistance for the company. You can see right here on this top red line, when it gets in this box at 1050, it can't break above it. Can't break above it. It's tried 3, 4, 5, 6 times to break above 1050 here, and it just can't hold that. And then it will sell off and it's consolidated. And then right here, the 23rd of February, it gapped down in after hours and sold off. I mean, it went all the way down to $8.50 from a high of that day of $10.50. It just the stock broke down, okay? And then we get to today, all right? Today, the stock tried to break above this resistance line of $9.50, okay? It did it, but then it sold back off. Right now, Shift is having a problem at $9.50. The one good thing about that is it's acting as support, okay? And if we go look at their most recent earnings report, it was very good. Very good. The street said that the estimates for Shift is they would lose 43 cents per share. Guess what? They didn't. They only lost 7 cents per share. That was an upside surprise of 84%. So they beat the street's estimates by 84%. That's incredible earnings. So if they can keep that type of momentum going for their revenue and their earnings per share, the EPS, then it can continue moving up. So what Shift needs in 79 days, when Shift reports their next earnings report, it needs to be stellar, just like their last earnings report. And we are in nearly a perfect storm for a company like Shift, where people are going to start leaving their houses as things begin to open back up. Maybe their car has been, sitting around for a whole year without being driven. And now all of a sudden, people are starting to move about more. They need a new car, or they want to sell their current car to get a new car. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to a company like Shift. They're gonna get their mobile phones and they're gonna search for the car that they're looking for on Shift's platform. They're gonna purchase it from Shift, maybe even sell their current car, trade it in to Shift. So Shift has a lot of good momentum moving forward for the company. There's a lot of catalyst for the company as well over the next 12 months. This is a stock, you can see this orange dotted line right here at $8.75. That is a stock alert for myself. I had 2. I've got one here at $8.75, and there's another orange dotted line right here, and this was at $9.50. This is my buying area right here for Shift. Anywhere between $8.75 up to $9.50. This is my buying target, okay? I believe in Shift, and I've got strong conviction that Shift is going to be a company for the future, and that future is happening now. That transition, mobile first, that is Shift. Okay. So between that price point, 875 to 950. That's my buying range for Shift. I actually bought some Shift stock today when it reached out when it broke below that 9.50 earlier today right here. So to me, that is a good area if you want to slowly start a position, or if you want to dollar cost average your way into a larger position. I believe Shift is a company for the future. It's got good catalysts and good opportunity. It had good guidance for its next quarter, and it had a stellar quarter earlier this month. So, if you're looking for a used used car, mobile first, let's just go here. Let's just go here and look real quick. Shift says they have reinvented how to buy and sell cars. All right. So when you go to Shift's website, you can browse for what you're looking for. One of the things that Shift needs to do is it needs to expand its market. If it can expand its market, which it's planning to, okay, that is definitely uh, in its future to do so. Shift is going to continue to grow. All right. Um, Let me just hold with me for one quick second. I mean, you can see all these different uh, areas they're in right now, but they've got to grow that. Hold with me for a quick second. Let's go over here to the investor page. For most publicly traded companies, if you go to their corporate website, scroll all the way to the bottom, you can find an investor relations page where you can find a ton of information on the company. Latest news, earnings. All right. I just wanted to, let's see, real quick. No, that's not what I want. Um, Press or shareholder. Let's look at this real quick. All right. This is we're looking at Shift Technologies where you can buy and sell cars. Okay. All right. I'm just looking real quick for their highlights. Where are All right. Well, this is something I just mentioned earlier about Shift new market expansion, and I told you that they were expanding their market. This is something that they've got to continue to do, and they've got to execute very well because this is how Shift grows. Shift's not going to grow by becoming static and only using the locations they have now. They have to expand, and the more they expand, the bigger their market share becomes, and the further up their stock price will go because their revenue will go right along with it. Okay, here's what I was looking for. I believe it said. highlights. This isn't what I want yet. Okay, here we go. Total revenue grew 168% to a record 73.4 million. Total units sold were 4,666, up 147%. This includes e-commerce and wholesale unit sales growth of 134% and 186% respectively. In addition to the unit growth, we also saw our e-commerce average sale price increase 14% year over year in Q4 to $18,188. Now, what they just said about the average e-commerce sale, when someone buys a car from Shift online, the average price that they're paying is $18,188 to be precise. This higher ASP average sale uh, price is reflective of changes to our inventory mix as well as we work toward an optimal distribution of inventory across the pricing spectrum. So they're trying to get a range of different types of vehicles to appeal to a larger audience. They also say, while we have seen meaningful swings in our ASP throughout 2020, and expect this trend to continue, it is important to note that we continue to provide a full spectrum of inventory to our customers, including low cost value cars, which continue to differentiate our inventory compared to other e commerce and offline used car brand peers. Total revenue grew 18% to 195.7 million in fiscal year 2020. Total units sold were 13,135, up 18%. This included e-commerce and wholesale unit sales growth of 15% and 29% respectively. All right, then we've got adjusted gross profit in the fourth quarter of 2020 of 1.7 million or 2% of sales as compared to 476,000 or 2% of sales in the prior year period. Excuse me for just 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. All right. All right. So adjusted gross profit for fiscal year 2020 was 12.8 million or 7% of sales compared to 6.7 million or 4% of sales in the prior year. So they jumped from almost doubling from 6.7 million in 2019 to 12.8 million in 2020. Good revenue growth. All right, let's see here. The financial outlook and guidance. This is what they're looking forward to in the next quarter. Revenue for Q1 2021. We are guiding to revenue of 90 million to 95 million, which represents an increase of 200% to 217% year over year growth. Not only did they have a good quarter and a good year, they're expecting the next quarter and next year to be even better. To put this guidance in the context of our expectations for the full year 2021, we expect to deliver over $450 million in revenue, an increase of 130% year over year. We expect to sell 20,900 e commerce units, an increase of 120% year over year. Potential impact of COVID makes ASP projections more difficult, but our revenue expectations assume that ASP will come down in the coming quarters. The reason they are able to grow so fast is because they are expanding their markets to increase their market shares. Getting Shift at $9 will be a steal if they do if they're able to execute on their expectations. I believe strongly that Shift will be able to better execute over Carvana and over Vroom. CarMax, not so sure, but definitely if you're wanting to pick a more futuristic, the future is now, used car company, a new way to buy and sell your vehicles, Shift Technologies is definitely one of the best options. And again, I know I just said this and I'm repeating myself, better than Carvana and better than Vroom. Okay, let's see what else do they have here for us. We remain focused on what will drive Shift's growth over the long term, increase brand awareness, expanding into markets. Yes, that is the biggest one. Expanding into markets. I've said it, I think, three times now. You're probably getting tired of hearing me say that, but that's how they grow by expanding their markets. And three, driving F&I. Let's see. They're excited about their growth. And then just some closing thoughts. Okay, so that Shift. Back on the chart here. Let me go here. SFT, ticker symbol for Shift Technologies. And we can look here. Yep, they were down a little bit today, flat. That's just because they had a big push. All right. So we go to the 1 year chart, and it doesn't look very nice, does it? It's red, it's bumpy, a lot of ridges in here. It's not a very smooth uptrend, but that smooth uptrend for Shift is coming as long as they can execute, and I believe they can. So again, right now for Shift, Shift is caught in this box right here where they can't break above the $10.50 mark. They're sitting right now at $9.79. And again, my buy box for Shift is from 8.75 up to $9.50. That's $8.75 up to $9.50. That is my buy box for Shift. Okay, uh, that's all I've got for Shift right now. Let me switch back over here. Let me hide this. All right, another comment here. So, what is your price target for this week? I don't really. Let me go back over to the chart real quick. Just hang on for a moment. I really don't know what a short term price target for them will be. If you look at the chart right here, they are able to break above the $9.50, but then they get trapped right here at $10.50. If you're looking for what's gonna happen this week, again, if it dips below 9.50, that's when you can start considering, maybe putting in a buy for Shift. If it gets all the way down to 8.75, definitely that's the box that you wanna look for. As far as where it's gonna go this week, I don't think it's gonna break above the 10.50 mark because it struggled to do that. You can see right here for several weeks, it struggled and it could not do it. So as far as for the week goes, I don't know about short term. If I had a crystal ball though, I could definitely tell you, and I would be happy to share that with you. So another question, CNX. All right, let me hop over to CNX. Ticker symbol CNX. Is that CNX Resources Corporation? for, in the US. Alright, so if we look at them, they were down 1.8% today to $14.61. Their low for the 52-week range is $4.55 up to $15.27, which that $15 mark was hit recently. Alright, let me go to the daily chart and see what their trend lines are for the past year. Alright, so this was their bottom in March, and then they shot up. Let's see here. CNX Resources Corp, natural gas. Okay. Okay. Organic growth strategies focused on responsibility development and resource base. Okay. All right. Let's put the trend line on here. So from their March lows, they had a big explosion up, and then it consolidated. You can see we can put a line right in the middle right here. So it consolidated from April until December of last year. And then this year, it's been on a ride up for 2021. If we go from the low point right here, and then we draw this line up to where we are now, so you can see that trend line that it's been on. Let's go into the daily, from the daily to the hourly to look for support and resistance. Okay, definitely. If we look right here, we can draw a line straight across here, and this has been its resistance point. That's right at $14. And then we can draw a second line for support right here. And that goes all the way back to the beginning of the year. And that's at $12.50. So if you can see, this pattern now becomes a little clearer that it's consolidated for most of the year. And if you were to swing trade this stock, you could have done pretty well on the ups and downs, these valleys that you see here. Now it's gone above, it broke above really strong above this resistance line here, right here. So it broke above the resistance right here, but that's okay. If you look, it has come back down now from this rise right here to touch its trend line that it made all last year. So that's a good sign. So can it hold up on this trend line? That would be interesting. So let's go in a little closer here. All right. All right, so what's on your screen right now is for the month of March. You can see it got up to the $14 mark, and then it struggled right here as resistance. It just couldn't break above it, and it's touched it several times. And then finally, on March the 10th, it broke free, and then you can almost see, even though this doesn't give us enough data, a few days is not enough data. But there is a looks like support could be forming right there. It's possible, but I think the support line may fall right here on the trend line. That's probably more likely. And if we extend this line straight out to its trend line, you can see by March 16th, tomorrow, if it consolidates, it's going to be right back on the trend line that it started. Wait for this. Let's go back to the daily chart view. That trend line that it started right here at the beginning of the year. This is January 1st when this trend line started. So go back to the hourly to get a little closer. That's what I would predict that the stock looks like it's gonna do. It looks like it's gonna start consolidating along this $14.50 line area. It's got support here and right here for it, but then that resistance line is now right about here, okay? This is right about $15. That's the resistance line that it's facing right now. So this thing could be setting up to do what it did um, from January 1st until March 10th, which was consolidate in a support and resistance box. It could be doing that now. It could be setting that up now, but between the 14.50 and $15 mark. That is a possibility. All right. Again, I don't know short term what stocks will do because anything can happen, but this is what I'm finding on the chart with its support and resistance and past behavior. Let's go to top news to see anything here that stands out. Oh, that last thing was February 16th. Let's look over here. Hold on one second. What was that? CNX. CNX. Okay. All right. Uh, no, there's no news about it. And then if we go look earnings, which came out January 28th, they blew away on earnings. The street estimated that they would come in at 15 cents per share. They came in at 87 cents per share, beating the street's expectations by 72 cents per share or 483%. That is a blowout quarter for this company. All right. Let's see. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Any other stocks, ticker symbols you want to dive into? Put them in the chat and we'll do it. I hope you guys enjoyed us going through the boating industry. That industry is hot right now. So we've got ticker symbols BC for Brunswick Corporation. They are a boat manufacturer for different types of boats. We have boat dealership, a nationwide MarineMax ticker symbol HZO, a regional dealership ticker symbol ONEW. We have a manufacturer for a specialty boat for wake boats, Mastercraft, ticker symbol MCFT, and then finally personal watercraft, ticker symbol D, and then three O's, DOOO. All of the companies are on fire and hot right now. Take a look at them. Add them to your portfolio if you are interested in them. Okay. COG. Let's go take a look at COG. Excuse me for 1 second as we transfer over. All right. COG. Uh, just double check here. COG. COG. All right. So we got Cobo Oil and Gas Corp. Let me just scroll down here and take a look. All right. So, production oil and natural gas. Let's see. In Pennsylvania. All right. Technical indicators right now say the stock is a buy. The stock's performance over the past year, 10.8%. Year to date is performing at 16.4%. On earnings, their profit margin has been rising. 2017, it was at 5.7%, 2018, 25.9%, and 2019, 34.3% for profit margin. And then 2020, it came down to 14.2%, but still very good indeed. All right, let me go to the daily chart so we can get a big picture overview. All right, squeeze this in a little bit. All right, so we've got the bottom right here of February, and then during the month of March, the stock went up pretty fast and then fell back down, and we kind of have this line right here forming. Let me attach this line, just extend it all the way to there. Up top, we can go from here to there. Actually, run it through here. Look at that. All right. Okay. Once you start mapping out a stock on the chart, it really starts to make sense on what it's doing. Okay. All right. So ticker symbol COG, it was up 0.85% today to $18.96. And for the daily chart, looking over the past 12 months, after it hit its March low, it shot up pretty fast. By May 1st, it had reached its peak. And let's just measure that real quick and see what that run was. All right, so that run was 65%. 65% in 31 days. So in 1 month, it was up 63%. So that is a pretty quick move for a oil and gas company. All right, and then when you see this like M shape right here forming, this deep valley, that brings us to June. And then when you see this pattern right here, the bottom line, it's descending for sure, but at a very slight angle. So it's making lower lows when it reaches its support line, but just barely. It's almost flat. And then the top line is definitely descending. You can definitely see when it gets to this resistance level, it's making lower lows. So when a stock is doing this right here and is making this, let me make sure that you guys see this. I'm gonna put this big circle or big box around it. When you see a stock chart that has this type of design, you can call it a pennant, you can call it a descending triangle. There's a few different names for it, but what it means is that the stock is getting crunched up. It's getting crunched together. So the distance um, from this bottom here to the top is about 35%, right? But then when we get to here and we measure from its bottom to its top, that's 18%. So by doing that measurement, you can see how at the on the left side where it's further apart, that's at 35%. And then as we get down closer to where we are today, that support to the resistance has gotten tighter at 18%, almost cut in half. That's putting pressure on the stock to react. And one of two things happens when that occurs. As pressure is being applied to the stock is either going to have a giant push to the upside or it's going to break down completely to the downside. Those are your two options that occur. So on here, you can see that right there as is happening. All right, so let's go to the 1 hour chart. All right, so there is definitely a line here at $18.75. That is clear as day right there. You can see that it's acting as support right here. You can see that. Support again right there. Support, resistance right there, but then it acts as support again, and most recently, which is most important for right now, you can see support right here on March 12th. Good support for this company. And then we've got a small line forming right here. Now, if this stock continues on this pattern that it's doing right now, you can definitely see there's resistance right here at $19.25. This stock looks like it's going to consolidate again right here between 1875 as support and 1925 as resistance. So you might be able to swing trade on this stock. Being in Pennsylvania in the current administration's um, stance on the gas and oil industry, I'm not sure if there's going to be any big moves. Let's see, anything in the news for it. Crude oil continuing to trim losses. Let's see, stocks going lower. Talking about the CEO's compensation, how it went up in 2020. Okay. Uh, so it looks like, look at this right here. So insider trends, insider sale. Let's see. The senior vice president sold 35,500 shares. Just reading over this real quick. So before the senior vice president sold those 35,500 shares, in the 90 days prior to the date of its filing, there were 34 insider transactions reported to the SEC. These transactions came from activities of 18 individual insiders that resulted in a net acquisition of 290,128 company shares. So they were buying stock in this company where then it mentions the preceding so the 90 days before that there were only 4 transactions from 4 insiders, which resulted in net uh, disposition of 51,339 shares. So over the last 90 days from March 11th, so March 11th, and then you back up 90 days, there were 18 individual insiders to the company, and they bought 290,128 shares of the company. That can be a good sign that they believe that there's strength and growth in the company in the coming year ahead, next 12 months. Um, let's just go back and look at that trend again on the daily chart. You can see it looks like a pennant. It's got the line going up right here, straight up, which is like your handle, and then it's got the descending resistance line, and it's got almost a flat support line. So what this company is thinking with the insiders purchasing shares and this very specific stock chart pattern, and when we go back further in history, you can see that this company has gone all the way up to being a $30 per share company. Insiders are buying. The pendant formation on the chart is visible. That suggests the stock over the next 12 months will be rising and could again be a $30 per share stock. That is very possible. And that's just in 2017. If we go back even further on the chart, if we go back to what date is this? If we go back to 2014, it was a $40 per share stock. $42 was the max that it got to. So with the insiders buying almost 300,000 shares and no selling at all, this company believes that it has a future and somewhere to go. Okay, so that's it uh, for them. Cobo Oil and Gas Corporation, ticker symbol COG. Um, just real quick again, look out for that price level that we were talking about. Right now, it looks like it may be forming support around the $18.75 line, which is possible. The most recent support was somewhere around $18 even to $17.75. But with that pennant forming, people buying shares back in the company, almost 300,000, that's a pretty big deal. All right. Uh, okay. We've gone over the boating industry. We've gone over a few ticker symbols here from the comment section. Let's see. All right, let me switch this over again real quick. X, United States Steel Corp. Let's see what they're doing. Steel is in hot demand right now. You can see that from the chart. All right, it's on a daily view. Just trying to go back and see real quick. All right, so they've got a max of about $50, and they're sitting at $23.14. All right, let's go back to a year on this. Uh, all right, over the past year, United States Steel Corporation is up 334.9%. That's incredible growth, and steel is going to continue to grow. There's no doubt about that. And it is skyrocketing right now. And one of the reasons for that is 2020, everything slowed down almost to a complete stop. And now the housing boom, the housing market, the real estate market is on fire right now. So steel is definitely one that is going to continue to go up. So we've got a trend line there from this is the daily chart looking at the past 12 months. We get a bigger overview. This was a $50 stock, and then we've got this consolidation right here, and then we've got this run up right here. Actually, let's extend that. It has to go up a little bit further. Okay. All right. So you can see last year, after it reached the March bottom last year, it had a nice trend line going up to June. Things stalled in June for a lot of stocks, consolidated all the way until November. And then from November, it's been on a trend line up. Actually, pretty steep if you want to go mark this point. I'm marking this point since it broke down. It could probably go up and touch this as resistance right here. Let's go into the daily chart and get a better look at it. I mean, from the daily chart to the hourly chart. All right, so see how it passes this trend line passes straight through here, and then look what happens right here. As we get closer, and this was earlier today. It almost gets real close. Oh, get out of the way so we can see. It gets real close to that trend line. See how close it came? So it could possibly, let's see, we've got, oh no, we've got a box of support. All right, so we've got this support right here in this box, and this is from about 22.50 right here, $22.50. That's a support level for this company. And then the next support is all the way down here. Alright, let me mark it off right here for you, so you can see. This is your next level of support, and this is right at $20. So, the company's got support at $20, and it looks like the company is gaining support right here at about 22.50, $22.50 per share. Um, let's see, it's past earnings. Alright, so they beat on earnings. Um, oh, they did. They smashed earnings. So the street had an estimate of a loss of 70 cents per share, but the company came in and beat those expectations. They had reported 22 cents per share. So not a loss, a profit of 22 cents per share. They beat expectations by 92 cents or 131%. So they smashed earnings that they reported January 29th. Surprisingly, the stock sold off after that. But you can see this consolidation right here. So this is the black line going across the screen diagonally. That was a trend line that was set a few months ago. And then the lowest support that this thing has would be all the way down here. Would be all the way down here from $16 to 16.50. Support, another support right here. This is at $20. And then it looks like support is forming at $22. Steel is going to continue to skyrocket. If uh, we go, I'm going to go to the weekly chart so we can look back further in time. Look at this. So we got two peaks to where we are now. You have this peak right here for the company. This was back in 2014, and this maxed out at, let's see, it maxed out at, oh, there it is, $46.50 at that point in time. And then you've got this point in time right here, and this is in 2018. It maxed out at 46.82, 46.55 to 46.82. There's no reason why this stock can't come back up and do the same thing. And, let's see. This this, maybe like, you know, put a circle right there and we have some type of a move like that following, just like this trend line right here led up to that peak. This trend line right here could also lead up to that same peak, but it's not just a straight line up. Remember that. If you look here in history, look, it goes up. Let's see. Let's see. All right. So it goes, come on. It goes up, right? Comes back down, goes up. You see this movement? It's not all in one straight line. Like the trend line is in a straight line, the stock won't move in a straight line. There will be ups and downs. And if we go back to this one right here, so see, we can just put a straight line on it as a trend line. And then when we map that out up, so the stock's moving, it consolidated here for a bit, and then finally it went up. Okay. So that's something that we could see. So we've got pattern one, pattern two, and then this is what pattern three, this is what it could look like over the next 12 months. Just remember, it does go up and down. And if we go back even further, whew, that was a big spike, a $200 stock, and it almost fell. Oh man, in a matter of a few months, 3 or 4 months, it fell from a $200 stock. But you can see this pattern right here, 1, 2, and then what 3 could look like, all right? So that's what could happen over the next 12 months. A very similar pattern. All right. Yep. All right. So that was ticker symbol X, United States Steel. It could very easily go back up to being a $45 stock over the next 12 months. Looking at the chart, there are definitely patterns. All right. I need to wrap this stream up. Make sure to click that like button and tap subscribe. This show is for you. You post your ticker symbol, and we go through that chart and that company together, pointing out everything that's important to that stock, whether it's going up, down, sideways, it doesn't matter. But this show is for you. We'll be live tomorrow after the market has closed, so look out for our live stream then. If you're watching this after the live stream, make sure to post your ticker symbol in the comments anyways. We always read the comments, and if you post a ticker symbol after the live broadcast, we will do it tomorrow at the start of the show. So just remember that. We're here for you. You are welcome. Thank you very much for your ticker symbols. I appreciate it. Uh, we'll be here tomorrow. Make sure to check out our Patreon page. You can support us there. But one of the most important things you can do is to click the like button and click subscribe. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. Um, I will see you guys tomorrow after the market has closed for another live show brought to you by Ticker Time News. You can go to tickertimenews.com and see our latest articles and subscribe for our shows. And I will see you tomorrow after the markets have closed. Take care, everyone. God bless.